Okay. Um, Hi. Sorry, I just started working the camera on this computer and it's weird. Sorry for the glare. Although it's cloudy, it's really bright outside and there are gaps in my blinds and I couldn't find anything that was dark enough to hang up there to get rid of that. So that's going to stay there. Uh, Hi, my name's Dana Ray. I am 22 and I am getting serious about my weight loss journey. I'm sorry, fat loss journey. Uh, I guess I'll give you a little bit of info on me. Like I already told you, I'm 22. I have been struggling to significantly decrease my percentage of body fat since I was a senior in high school. I am now finished with high school. I've been out of high school for 4 years. And I have made some goals, but I have not hit my ultimate goal. Right now, I weigh 290 pounds. Well, I don't know that for sure, but that's what I feel. The last time I weighed myself, I was 278, and I know I've gained weight since then because I know my pants have felt tighter. And so I'm guessing 290. For all I know, I might actually weigh 300 or 310. But I'm guessing 290. Let's see. Okay, I guess from the beginning, so to speak. I was not an overweight child. In my family, obesity does run in my family. Not in the same way as children are born relatively heavy than other counterparts, but that obesity usually begins very early in my family. Usually by the time a child is 7, they have a pot belly. Usually. That's just something I've noticed from pictures from my cousins and even my siblings, that it starts very, very early. I don't know how it got skipped. For me, I didn't start gaining weight until I hit puberty. But I noticed with my younger siblings that their mothers, because my younger siblings are my half siblings, that their mothers were feeding them crazy things. My younger brother, when he was 2 years old, was almost diagnosed with juvenile diabetes because his mom decided to feed him spoonfuls of sugar to shut him up. Like, that's like, wow, you know. But yeah, so it's been my family. I was, I guess, 10 years old when I started puberty. That's what I'm guessing, at least. And I started gaining weight. My parents had divorced a few years before that. And I love my dad. Even though after I was 10, actually, probably closer to 13, but even after I wasn't in his household any longer, I loved him. I still missed him. He was still my favorite person. But not having him there was definitely a void. My mom, of course, had to be the only provider, so she worked really long hours. And my older sister is almost 4 years older than me. You know, do the math. When I was 10, she's 14, going on 15, doesn't want to hang out with her 10-year-old sister anymore. And, you know, now I understand that. But at the time, it made me very sad. And I knew how to cook. Not many 10-year-olds I've learned, at least not a lot of my friends who, when they were 10, knew how to cook. And I don't mean make some macaroni or make ramen. I actually knew how to cook. I knew how to fry bacon. I knew how to make pancakes. I knew how to boil some water, put some spaghetti in there, make my own spaghetti sauce, add meatballs to it, any fixings I want, and I'd have a meal ready. What I didn't really understand was portion sizes, so I ate until I was full. And of course, the more often you do that, the longer it takes to become full. And I know now that I was trying to replace an emotional need, but I didn't know how to articulate that. I was really quiet growing up, and I didn't feel secure enough to tell people, hey, I'm lonely, come hang out with me. So instead, I'd get home from school. My mom would be home for another 5 hours or so, and my sister would be off with her friends. So I'd go into the kitchen and I'd start making food. My grandparents, at least both sets of my grandparents. My father's parents, my grandfather used to have diabetes. He doesn't anymore. He's got it under control. He's off insulin. He's off medicine. And he's doing famously. But he used to have diabetes. And so growing up, that was something he always warned us about. He's like, make sure you eat right. Make sure you exercise. Or you're going to end up like me. And he'd like show us his whole counter of all these medications he had to take. He's like, this is what I take. I take this insulin for my diabetes, but the insulin affects my heart this way. So now I take this heart medicine. And this heart medicine gives me low blood pressure. So I have to take this medicine to give me higher blood pressure. But sometimes my blood pressure is too high, so I have to take this medicine. And this medicine makes my iron low. So I got to take this iron supplement. And he just had all these things that I take. And it always broke my heart. You know, consciously, of course, I was like, I don't want to end up like that. But I admit that I was never particularly proactive about it. I understood when my grandparents, my dad's parents, talked about that. They wanted us to be healthy. They were concerned. They're just like, go outside and play. We want you to be active. I get that. I always get that because you want the best for your children, for your grandchildren, and being active keeps your body healthy. My mom's parents weren't so kind. All they did was call my mother, her siblings that were overweight, and all my cousins, and even some of their friends fat. Their exact word sometimes was, get up off your fat ass and do something. And that doesn't really help. It tends to make things worse. Especially because I'm one of those weird emotional eaters. I don't eat when I'm sad. Not really. When I'm sad, I go to sleep. That's how my expression of depression has come to be. I eat when I'm angry. I eat when I'm happy. I eat when I'm really pissed off, and I eat when I'm happy. Because I don't actually know why. But that's what I do. When I'm angry, I eat because I guess I find chewing to be a violent act, and then I can pretend I'm eating my enemies. Weird, I know. And then when I'm happy, well, eating feels good. So, of course, I want to continue that happy feeling. And I digress. But yeah, they would say things like that. And I was never what I think mainstream society would consider fat until I was 10 years old. I ran track when I was younger. I remember one particular race where I heard my family cheer me on, and for some reason I decided to turn around and wave, and I ended up not being in first. It's a really dumb decision, but yeah. When I was 10, I noticed I had stretch marks. I didn't really understand what that meant yet, but I knew they were bad because my mom talked about the stretch marks she had from having children and how she wanted to get rid of them. And as a 10-year-old, I was confused. How can I have stretch marks if I didn't have children? And I remember I was going swimming with a friend of mine, and I was freaking out so badly. One, he was a guy and I liked him, but also because I felt disgusted with myself. And I told my mom, I was like, Jacob's going to hate me and he's not going to want to be my friend because I have stretch marks on my legs. And that's the first play I got him. I didn't have any belly fat yet. I guess I was just starting to grow boobs, but didn't really have a butt either yet. But my thighs were beginning to touch. And I could see these light brown marks on my legs. So I knew they were stretch marks because that's what my mom's looked like. And I told her this, and she's just like, honey, he probably doesn't even know what they are. You don't really know what they are. He'll be fine. And I went. I was shy at first, and then eventually ended up enjoying my swim day. But that's the first time I recall ever, quote unquote, feeling, cross legs, quote unquote, feeling fat. It's the first time I remember it. From then on, I have never been sedentary. I can say that with relative confidence. Sitting down for a long time does bore me. I was always active as a child, was in sports, but as I started to get older, I went from moderate activity to light activity. I walked to school throughout most of my education. Let's see, elementary school, I probably walked a mile. Yeah, 4th grade and 5th grade, I walked to school every day unless it was really bad weather. And in those cases, my mom watched the news and she'd say, you're getting a ride with me, or well, my friend's going to pick you up and take you to school because I don't want you walking in the rain, snow, hail, possible tornado, inclement weather. But other than that, I walked to school. In 5th grade, I enjoyed playing kickball. I was on my soccer team. I did very well. I was an excellent soccer player. I loved it because I liked running around with my friends. I even remember getting a concussion. It wasn't from soccer, it's from kickball. I tried to kick the ball, missed, and ended up flat. It was like one of those Three Stooges moments. I fell flat on the back of my head, was fine, went, ate lunch, threw up, then went to the hospital because they figured they knew I had a concussion. 6th grade, I took the bus, but there were 2 conditions. One, only in the morning, because I walked home from school, which is probably maybe 3 miles, maybe 1.5, depending on the route we took. Or I walked to school if I missed the bus. I had a really bad habit of missing the bus in the morning. I didn't like waking up. Like once I was in 6th grade, I had to be at school, be at the bus stop at 7:50 to be at school by 8:15. I hated that. I didn't understand why I had to be at school so early, especially because it took me a while to see the point in actually going to school. I got education. The whole point of getting up early to do the things that I could have done at home, didn't like. But I did that. When I was in 7th grade, it was the same thing, except I had to be on the bus stop earlier, and that frustrated me. In the middle of my 7th grade year, we moved, and then I stopped taking the bus because my new school district, it was weird. It was a more affluent school district, but because of that, parents brought their students to school, mostly, and the only students who got the bus were students who were actually bused in from the city. Because I moved from a moderate middle class school district into an upper middle class, or almost even complete upper class school district. And then these students that were from the city, this is left over from back when they were desegregating schools. And then it was about a mile. I walked a mile to school and a mile home from school. The end of my 7th grade year, all my 8th grade year, and then going into high school. I walked to school every day. I walked home from school every day. And it wasn't probably until about sophomore year that I started getting a ride to school. And then by junior, senior year, I had friends who had cars. And so then I started riding with them every day. And I think the only times I'd really walk is when I just felt like going somewhere. I went to visit one of my friends. When I was walking to their house in the morning, and then during summer school, I would ride my bike. And but I never really felt heavy. I realized that a lot of my classmates were size 6s, and I was a size 14 in the 10th grade. I didn't care. By the end of high school, I was a size 18, and it wasn't an issue for me because I believe a lot of the negative repercussions that come from being overweight in American society didn't affect me. I didn't have a problem having friends. I didn't have a problem being popular. I didn't have a problem having a boyfriend. I had several boyfriends throughout high school. And when I finished high school, I got engaged. We're still engaged, actually. It's pretty awesome. We're getting married next year. And I never had that issue. My grandparents were always my mom's parents were always particularly harsh about me gaining weight, and my mom, in her own weird way of trying to care but not knowing how to voice it, would say things, but it was never something that hurt. When I felt hurt and depressed, it never was attributed to my weight. Like, sometimes I'd be sad when I saw this really cute outfit and it says size 14. I'd just be like, ugh, cripes. If I was at least a size 16, I could squeeze into this and make it work. But yeah, there's no way that zipper is coming up. I never had the issue. I've heard such terrible horror stories about women and men who were abused so heavily for being overweight. I never had that problem. I'm really thankful I never had that problem. But at the same time, I can acknowledge that without that exterior push from my environment, I didn't care. Even though I realized I was overweight, I had over 30% body fat, I didn't think it was a problem because I was still active. And no, I didn't go to Chuck E. Cheese or eat pizzas all the time. My issue is bread, though. I will eat the mess out of whole wheat. I love pasta like nobody's business. I will eat pasta, use cream cheese and butter and soy sauce and Louisiana hot sauce to make a sauce for that whole wheat pasta. I kid you not. I don't like white bread. I can't stand it. And refined sugars gross me out. But that whole wheat pasta, I promise you, I could probably eat half of a family box, which is an issue. Definitely an issue. Let's see. When I started college, it was very helpful because, well, no, let's back up. When I was in high school, my last year of high school, I wanted to, of course, look pretty for prom. And I did. I looked fabulous. But I started myself on a diet. I stopped eating bread. Ooh, and I stopped eating meat. I actually didn't give up bread completely. I stopped eating bread with yeast, and I just started eating like saltine crackers and pita bread. And I stopped eating meat. So that, of course, cut a lot of fried foods. And for a stint, I stopped eating dairy. So I only had non-dairy cheese, which isn't that good anyway. And I cut those things out of my diet. And I started riding my bike regularly. And I did lose a lot of weight. And I felt good. But of course, the problem was I didn't keep up with those activities. I mean, I did, but I didn't. I don't eat meat. I don't eat red meat on a regular basis. I get my protein from beans and quinoa. Quinoa is my new best friend. But I don't eat as much greens or fruits and vegetables as I need to. One, I unfortunately do not have my dream job yet. I really want to be a successful author, and I would like to be a translator. Don't have those jobs yet. I'm living on a college student's budget, and my rent is $280 a month, and I probably make about $280 every 2 weeks. Multiply that by 2, give or take $560 before taxes. Yeah, and fresh food is expensive. I'm learning to get over that and reprioritize my funds, but that's one of the main reasons. So when I went to college, it was easy because I was on a meal plan living on campus. So getting my fruits and vegetables, I liked the fact that I had no excuse because I was already there. I worked in the gym my sophomore and freshman year, so that was perfect. I was there. I was always in the gym because I worked there. So, and that really for me was you have no excuse not to do anything between the time let's see, what was my hours? I usually got there around 7 and worked till 11, usually. Some nights if I had class until 9, I'd be there from 10 to 11, or 10 to midnight. But I'd be there for a good chunk of time. And we didn't start cleaning the gym until all the sports were over and people were out. So that gave me 45 minutes to an hour to work out, get my burn on, and then I can clean up. And if you've ever had to clean locker rooms of a gymnasium at a college, you understand how much of another workout that totally is. And I was good. I slimmed down a lot my freshman, sophomore year. Then I ended up having to drop out because I couldn't afford school anymore. And I still haven't been able to go back. Now that has, of course, caused weight gain again. One, I had to move, and it really sucked having to move and not really having the finances for it. And then just trying to get myself back on my feet. I fell into some bad habits. I did become very sedentary. These last 5 months before last June, I was very sedentary because I was just like, you know what, not moving anywhere. But then I got a bike, and so I was biking to work. And I live about 4 miles from my current workplace, and I would bike up and down those hills. Then it got cold, so I stopped. So I've been taking the bus more. And my eating habits have improved. Of course, I try not to eat out, but being honest with myself, I probably eat out twice a month. And it's, when I feel, you know what, I really want a tofu wrap from Chipotle. Or I'll admit, this last weekend, I had a cheat day, and I had a terrible cheat day. I bought Domino's, because I walked home from church, and I live 2 miles from my church. So I'm walking home, I see Domino's, and I gave in. I'll admit. I got pasta, I got breadsticks, and then lo and behold, I decided to also get a funnel cake because it was the last day of Winterfest. It was bad. It was really bad. And it felt good, and I felt terrible afterward because I felt so sick because I haven't eaten that amount of bread in a very long time. Which is good. I've been giving up sugar. I work at Starbucks, by the way. And I had a macchiato with raspberry instead of vanilla. And it tasted so gross. I felt like I was going to be sick because my body wasn't used to it anymore. Which is good. But yes, recently, my new motivation for fat loss is that I'm getting married soon. Not because, I want to look amazing on my wedding day. And not that either. It's because when I have children, I want to set the best example for them. I have nothing wrong with anyone who's over 200. I'm well over 200. I'm probably 300. I have built muscle over the years. It's not as good as it used to be, but I can squat 275. So I'm pretty close. I can squat 275, probably 30 reps for one set, and I've kept that up. My knees don't always agree with me, but my legs are really strong. My calves, I can't really show you. I'll have to show you another time because my legs are hairy and really gray, so I'm not going to show you that. But my calves are absolutely amazing because I ride my bike. I've started running again, and it's like the definition of my calves got a little loose, I'll admit that. And then I started running again, and the definition just popped back up. And it's amazing. Like, I look at some people who have just straight calves, and those weird people have like lumps places. My calves literally, so here's the front of my calf. That's, straight. My calf in the back goes, like this. Like, it's got that bump, and that's it. And it looks and feels amazing. When I put lotion on my legs now, and I feel that definition, makes me really happy. Because I can see my work ethic, wow. I can see the efforts of my work ethic. That doesn't sound like proper English, but I know it is. Yeah, and I mean, it's superficial. Well, yeah, I want to set a good example for my children because I want them to really focus on fitness. My fiance, he's a mixed martial artist, and he is an aspiring bar star. he does calisthenics. He only lifts weights probably once a week, and that's just to do dumbbell presses. That's it. He's on these pull-up bars and doing all this crazy stuff, and he's working up to do the human flag. He probably weighs 190. He's trying to get to 200, but he's 190, and he's about 5'9". I love him. He's my sweetheart. And throughout our whole relationship, he's been teaching me mixed martial arts, and he's been really supportive. And his focus has been being a better badass version of yourself. He has never said, you should really be this body fat mass, you should really be this weight. You need to be a better badass version of yourself. And sorry, I'm about to eat my salad, so I'm holding my fork. And it's helped because I guess he really colored my view. I've always known that making a goal like losing weight doesn't help if the external force is pleasing people. It doesn't work. People yo-yo like that. And when it does work, you end up with this damaged individual. I have friends who have gone from being obese to anorexic and had to have been hospitalized because they took such extreme measures to achieve the aesthetic, and it took a major toll on them because there was never, I guess they always felt like they were that fat kid. And it's hurtful. It sucks. But for me, I didn't care. Like, when I stopped actively being healthy in high school, it wasn't because I didn't care about what people said. It's because I didn't care that I was fat. I was just like, it doesn't seem to be doing me any damage now. I could run a mile in 9 minutes. Run, walk, be honest. I could do sit-ups. I could do push-ups. I can't really do sit-ups anymore, and I'm getting back to being able to do push-ups. My focus really is to be able to do, those 25, 30, and 30 seconds. But I did that in high school because I had to do it regularly in gym. Now I don't, so I've lost it. But I never really cared. But now, like, honestly, knowing that in about 3-4 years, I'm going to start having children, I want my kids to have the best start they can have. I don't want, I see these TV shows where, these unhealthy parents are trying to get their lives together because they now have kids. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be struggling after my pregnancy to get down to even a more manageable weight because I gained so much weight while I was pregnant. I don't want to be that mom who's 30 and can't play around with her children on the floor. And I definitely don't want to be the unfit one in the relationship. I know it's really superficial, but like, being too tired to do something is a cramp in my style because I'm a night owl. I like sleeping, but I also like not sleeping because there's this high that happens after like 2 a.m. Once you hit 2 a.m. and you've not slept since probably 9 a.m. the other day, it feels amazing. You feel like you can do anything. Being too tired to stay up that late irritates me. And although I know getting 8 hours of sleep helps your energy levels, I also noticed that when I was more healthy, it didn't sweat me as much not to have those 8 hours. And of course, I was also a little bit younger, so I probably didn't need as much anyway. So yeah, also my true superficial reasons for wanting to lose fat is I want a belly ring. I have an eyebrow ring, nose ring. In a couple months, or maybe a couple paychecks, depending on how money flows, since I have a couple ancillary jobs right now, I'm going to start working my way up the cartilage in my ears. But for my 23rd birthday, I want a navel ring. Like, there's no other reason that I want it than bragging rights. To be able to say, hey, I have a navel ring. And no, I do not want washboard abs. I don't find, at least, I don't believe abs on me would look nice. I just don't. I'm not into that. It's not my thing. I don't care. But I want to have a navel ring. I want a ribcage tattoo. I got my first tattoo a couple months ago, and it didn't hurt as much as I thought it would. But it felt like getting a shot. And as much as I don't like getting shots, I don't mind needles. I get blood like nobody's business. It's painful because they have to go like through my feet because the veins in my arms aren't big enough. But, I can do it. Get it over with. And I want a ribcage tattoo. I don't want to get a ribcage tattoo with these rolls on my side because it is my goal to lose 100 pounds. Like that's my goal. I don't want to be anything lighter than 180 because I am focused on being stronger. I don't really care so much about muscle definition so long as I know I have the strength. Whether or not anyone can see them, I could really care less. And I'm more worried about functional functional strength. I don't want to just be able to pose and have my abs pop out. I want to know that if I get in a car accident and my car is on top of me, I can push the car away far enough with my legs to be able to crawl out and get to safety before the car blows up. I want to be able to push boxes or heavy obstacles away from me so I can be safe. If someone has the wildest idea to mug me, I want to know that I can be able to punch them and kick them hard enough that'll make them ever second guess for the rest of their life whether or not they're going to mug someone. That's what I want. That's what I'm working towards. And I want to wear a ribcage tattoo and a navel ring just because I think it looks cool. I like piercings, I like tattoos, and I want to be able to celebrate my body in that way. And those will be my birthday gift to myself. Like, you worked hard for this. Here's your reward. So yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I'm restarting this journey. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. That sort of thing. Although I guess technically I'm kind of like fall down 5 times, get up 6. So I'm hoping we're going to leave it at 6 and not have to go to 8. But yes, that's really my journey right now. I know I don't expect within the week to have like a bunch of followers, but I hope you guys will, follow me through this. Keep me accountable, I guess. This is a real goal of mine, not because someone else said, hey, this is something you should do. I haven't listened. Like, I've understood doctors. I get that, yes. I understand that doctors are concerned about obesity. I totally understand that. And I also understand that for a medical doctor, it is a lot easier to say, you're lazy, you need to work out and eat less. That's all they know how to do. They can't tell you, hey, you should probably go see a psychiatrist because you're depressed and that's causing your pituitary glands and amygdala and other inner workings of your brain to offset your biological clock and happenings. They can't tell you that. A medical doctor, as in the person you go see physical medical problems, can't help you with that. That's something you have to see a psychiatrist for. And what I've noticed is doctors don't really like prescribing it to other people unless they believe they can't help you. If they think they have a way to fix you, they're not going to mention any other resources because they want your money. And they're a little vain. And I don't mean that in a completely damning way, but I mean, it's true. If someone comes to me about a Chinese translation of their tattoo or wants to know about this verse in Portuguese, I'm not going to send them anywhere else unless I'm sure I don't know what I'm talking about. If I look at someone's tattoo, I'm going to look at them and be like, yeah, that's what it means. I could be wrong. It could be a saying, and therefore I'm attributing the wrong meaning to it. There could be a stroke missing or a stroke that I'm not paying attention to that completely changes the meaning. But I'm not going to send them to someone else, even if I'm wrong. And so with doctors, I listened to them. I got what they were saying, but I didn't pay attention to what they were saying because, especially through my adolescence, my issue was depression. I didn't get properly diagnosed, not so much until it was too late, but until it was at the point when there was nothing they could make me do. I was properly diagnosed with depression, clinical depression, when I was 17 years old. At that point, they couldn't force me to take any antidepressants. They just couldn't, because in Missouri, your age of majority is 17. So there was nothing they could do. And I was just like, I'm not taking any drugs. You're not going to make me do that. I'll go to therapy. I will do group therapy. I will write a journal about my hopes and dreams and fears. I will not take medicine. And I meant that. And I didn't. And don't get me wrong. I think doctors, they take the Hippocratic oath. They actually do want to save people. They actually do want to help them get better. I think sometimes they focus on the effects in people who are morbidly obese, or overweight. I think I've been to a couple doctors who didn't even ask about what my home life was like. They said, you need to work out more. And I looked at them and I was just like, I do work out. And they just they're like, yeah, whatever. And at the time, I remember when I was in 5th grade, the woman said, and I was just like, no, it was 4th grade. I was just like, are you kidding me? I walk to school every day. Like, I walk 2 miles to and from school every day. Like, there's no, I'm not working out because I'm lazy. I was just like, I do. And she was like, well, obviously that's not enough. And I'm sitting there thinking, 2 miles? That's 4 miles a day. How's that not enough? What else am I doing? And at the time, the home I was living in, we didn't have a lot of junk food. I got 8 hours of sleep. Like, there was no other hardcore evidence that, hey, you're making unhealthy choices in your life. I lived in an abusive home during that year because that was my mom couldn't afford to take care of my sister and I while she went back to school until we moved in with her parents, and they were heavily abusive to us, physically and emotionally. But the doctor didn't consider that a mitigating factor, so it never got taken into account. When I went back with my mom and she started showing signs of mental distress, that never came up at my doctor visits. It was always, so you need to do blah, 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 and yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, but I'm on the soccer team. They didn't care because in their mind, there was no way that I could have been the size I was and be on the soccer team. Side note, I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have high cholesterol. I do know that my sugar levels were high last time I checked, so I cut sugar out of my diet. Don't eat it. Stop eating as much bread. Everything else, no issue. No signs of colon cancer, no signs of heart disease, no lung problems. My knees have gotten stronger since I've squatted more, except sidestepping my auto accident. As far as blood work goes, I am healthy. But doctor looks at me and says, you're obviously not doing what you need to. My iron levels are low because I'm anemic. I try to eat spinach. I only like it when it's not cooked though. But what shows up in blood tests really isn't everything, unfortunately. Because the doctors I've had and doctors of other people I've known still won't even believe the blood test they've given you. And I'm just like, well, obviously there's something wrong because only healthy people have low cholesterol and low blood pressure. And because you're not a certain size, I deem you're unhealthy. Therefore, you can't have that. That means there's something else going on that I can't determine right now, but I'm convinced that if you do this, you'll be fine. And part of it, I didn't listen, but at the same time, I haven't seen a decrease in my quality of life since I gained weight from being in puberty. Not that's affected by weight gain. I've had changes in quality of life depending on where I lived, but weight gain? No, not at all. But like I said, I want a ribcage tattoo, and I aesthetically believe that it'll look better if I don't have rolls on the side. I actually don't care about my thighs anymore. I kind of like them. I like poking them when I get bored. My fiance likes poking them. My fiance likes jiggling my thighs when he walks by me. I don't know why. I don't know how it's fun, but apparently it's the most amazing thing in the world to him. And the only reason I want a smaller abdomen for a belly ring is so that I can actually see it. Not so anyone else can see it, but so that it's not like hidden under a roll, but that it's actually out there and realize it's there. But yeah, that's my story. Those are my motivations. I'm not going to lie and say I'm going to post a video every day, because that's not going to happen. What I am going to promise to do is post a video every week. And maybe twice a week, depending on what's going on. But yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Again, I'm Danny Ray. What's going on? I don't have a cool name for this weight loss journey. Just it's a fat loss journey, and that's about it. Nothing really special. Yeah, also, I don't like the whole chin thing. This can go. If that could just be like that and not like that, I'd be totally fine. Besides that, I'm good. Peace out. Toodles. Bye.